Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Cult Film Review. We have a great episode for you. We have Danny Marrianino in the studio with us. Also, we are going to review the movie My Science Project.
There you go.
I had it.
I didn't know if you had it.
No, I had it.
All right.
We're going to talk to Danny about his books. They're all fantastic, so go check them out on Amazon. And let's just start the show.
Your Hollywood system stole our sex and co-opted our violence, so there's nothing left for our kinds of movies.
I did not hit her. It's not true.
Klopex?
Klopex.
Klopex.
Up yours, baby.
Me and Bubba, my little brother, listen to you every night.
Where in the hell are we?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
All right, guys, so we are here. We're going to be talking about My Science Project in a little bit, but first we are going to talk to Danny and about his books and about his life and how he ended up getting into the book game.
The book game?
Hustling books out of the trunk of your car.
Totally. Just like two Live Crew style.
Where to start? Where did your fascination for a film begin?
I have been like a movie mental case since I was a kid. I think a lot had to do with, maybe being a little bit of a chubby kid and not a whole lot of friends. So there was a video store in my neighborhood that basically let me rent whatever I wanted as a kid. And I used to ride my bike there a lot and grab movies. And my parents, they were like one of the first people to have like HBO and full-on cable in our neighborhood, like in the early 80s when that started coming out. My dad was a big movie guy too, so like he made me watch The Warriors with him when it came out on cable, and he's like, "You don't understand this movie, these fucking gangs in New York." And I cursed him. I said, it was. He drew me into films, and the reason why we got cable so early was we had a neighbor next door that had like some kind of ham radio. And this crazy old German guy, and it used to come through our television set. And my dad would go ape shit. And he'd yell at the window, "You German Nazi!" Like the guy was talking to all his like German friends, like on some kind of a ham radio thing. And finally, my dad got cable to combat that, and it was like the greatest thing in the world.
Were you popular then?
No. Though I did get DTV, which was Disney TV back then, and that was like a paid subscription thing. So that was like kind of a big deal. Some of my friends were like, "Whoa, you got Disney TV, I'm coming over."
Yeah, you had a cool dad showing you the Warriors and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that's amazing.
First Blood was probably the movie that I remember watching it at my grandparents' house. As a little kid, they're all watching it, and I'm sitting there with them. My cousins were off playing, and I was completely fascinated by this guy running through the woods and building all these traps and just telling these motherfuckers to leave it alone. It was the greatest thing. And from that point on, I just grew to love films.
Were you like me, like when you saw movies like that? Like for me, it was like Home Alone. Like after I saw Home Alone, I was like trying to build booby traps in the backyard and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
After I saw what is it, the first Nightmare on Elm Street, I tried sanding a light bulb open till it put. That did not work.
That's some tough shit. Yeah.
Oh, it fucking worked in the movie. What the hell?
Just sitting there standing a light bulb for hours.
Kyle.
Boom.
I walked around with like a Cool Whip contained around my head, trying to be like Gilligan from Gilligan's Island, and I tried to be everybody. I mean, when Cobra came out, I would walk around with a match in my mouth.
Oh wow!
My mom was like, "Get that shit out of here!" And it wasn't even like a legit wood match; it was like a shitty pack of matches match. I'm sucking on that
soggy.
all day. Yeah. But I grew to want to be every one of these characters in the films. I wanted to be them.
Oh, same here. I actually set out an expedition out into Africa to release a gorilla that I taught sign language.
Oh yeah,
an apparatus for.
Did you do that?
Yeah, no, I did.
It was all about the communication.
What?
It was a lot about the communications industry. It was a lot about that. It was a lot about. We needed diamonds. There's this mythos of a gray gorilla.
They called me. I said I was on it.
I said I got it.
AKA the desert in your backyard.
Yeah. Where are you from? You're not from here, obviously.
No, New Jersey originally.
Where at?
Like Hunterdon County, kind of like in the wilderness area.
Okay.
More, I'd say northwest Jersey. To give you a good idea, it's like maybe 45 minutes from New York City and 45 minutes from Allentown. Okay. So kind of in the middle there.
What brought you to Phoenix?
Sunshine. I got tired of the cold weather and my father was actually moving out here when I was a kid. My parents were divorced, and I had the option to stay in New Jersey or come to Arizona, and I wanted to change.
Yeah.
What was the culture shock like? Because it had to be definitely a culture shock.
Big time. First off, one of my best friends moved here at the same time, so it was kind of cool.
That was awesome.
Okay.
He went to ASU, so it was like I had one of my boys here like right away. But it was a big culture shock because things that I liked and things that I listened to, people didn't. A lot of the hardcore bands like Agnostic Front and Biohazard, people weren't listening to that out here. They were listening to Flotsam and Jetsam and like some of the more metal bands and a lot of the punk rock bands from the West Coast. I really wasn't familiar with at all. So I'd go to shows, bands that like Madball that I'd see like in New Jersey or New York, 200-300 kids at, and there's like 15 kids out here in Arizona at the show. I'm like, wow, I'm in a different world here. You know?
Yeah.
I grew to love Arizona. You could never get me to move back. I call this my home. My wife is my best friend that went to ASU. Actually married his sister, so I dragged her out to Arizona, and this is it. So it was definitely a change, but today it's different.
It's weird. I'm in the same boat. I'm originally from Missouri, and like when I first moved out here, I hated it. I used to call it a giant litter box, and then I've moved away. I've lived in Jersey. I've lived in Missouri.
Where'd you live in Jersey?
I lived in Highlands.
Okay.
And then so I've been different places, and it's like I just end up here. I always end up here.
Yeah, I moved away. I moved away once. I moved to Tennessee at one time.
Well, that would do it.
Yeah, Tennessee for about 6 months, and it was a weird feeling, like coming back, driving back, and hit like as soon as we hit the border, and you saw the sign like welcome to Arizona. It was like a nice feeling. It's like, you know what, this is fucking home. I don't know what the hell I was thinking.
I feel that way every time like I fly out, just for a vacation or something. Like that flight back into Phoenix just feels like welcoming to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. I don't know why it gets me like that, because I don't always agree with things that Arizona does.
Sure.
Not to get political, but
it's changing. It's all changing.
Yeah.
I mean, you've probably seen huge changes since you've been out here. Like, I mean, because you like you said, you are just slightly older than us, so like you were comprehending things like in a different time, like whereas.
You guys seen Goodfellas, right?
Yeah.
Remember at the end of the movie, he says, now I want macaroni. I got to get fucking wet noodles and ketchup.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt when I moved out here. Being a New Jersey Italian kid, having like all the crazy Italian cold cuts that, most girls would not want to get near you after you ate it, and having trouble finding, even like a lot of the stuff from the other cultures that I grew up with. I mean, a lot of Mexicans in Arizona, but there's not a lot of Puerto Ricans or Cubans and, Portuguese food. I mean, these are things that like I grew up eating a lot of that you don't really find out here. And now as the time goes, I got the greatest Italian deli I live in Old Scottsdale area called the Falco's. It's 5 minutes from my house. He's got better Italian sausage than places that I had in Jersey recently. So, it just goes to show you that through time, places evolve. I think the internet made it really change the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to be in a place now where you don't have that there with people having that demand to be able to get whatever they want online and find things they never heard of online. It eventually comes there,
So when you got to Phoenix, as we've learned, you were big into the music, but did you start finding your way into film as well out here? I mean, you were always into film, but did you find kind of a place for that and help grow that?
It was a little bit of a niche. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of there would be things that would come through town once in a while, and I'm thinking something maybe it's a little more recent, but like in the last 10, 15 years, like Bruce Campbell came out and he did a book signing, and then he showed The Man with the Screaming Brain, at the book signing, and did a Q&A. I would go to every one of those things. But it was a little hard at first to try to even find that stuff going on. You have to find a flyer somewhere. Yeah. Maybe they had the money to spend it on a New Times ad, but it's a lot of word of mouth, and it took a little while to find kind of some cool guys that were in the film loving community to be able to start to mesh a little bit of a community of people together to start to go do things,
You used to program, you said, for the horror and sci-fi festival out here.
Well, I still do, yeah. And I also helped Andrea, the Midnight Movie Mamacita, when she was booking back in the day at Chandler Cinemas, we had our own programming. My friend Brandon and I had a website here called I Could Smell Your Brains.com, which like featured movie reviews and
Cool.
music stuff and books and all kinds of crazy shit. And we ended up closing the website down because it's fucking two guys working on the website. It's possible to keep up with it. But we showed every kind of cool movie you could think of, from crazy things like Evil Speak with Clint Howard to even, Conan the Barbarian. And we try to always do cool stuff. Like we have a friend, this guy Mike Heenan, that he collects 35 millimeter prints, and he had a print of every single Arnold Schwarzenegger trailer from every movie he ever made. So when we did, it's crazy. So when we did Conan the Barbarian, we actually did a double feature, and we started off when he was Arnold Strong, doing some movie I never even heard of, to Hercules in New York, and then all the way through like Collateral Damage till he got into his political career. And then we showed Conan the Barbarian, and we would rent the prints. It wasn't just showing the like a lot of guys today. You see they just pop a DVD in there. We actually paid for the prints from the theaters or the companies and had them shipped out. It was expensive. But I mean, you want to see Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? I got a nice fucking TV at my house, and I got it on Blu-ray. You want to come over and watch it like that? To go to a theater and see it, yeah, it's kind of cool. But to see it on a 35 millimeter print, scratchy, old print. I mean, there's nothing like that.
That's the problem, I think. Now, like, I mean, technology has definitely been beneficial for like theaters to do those kind of events. But yeah, there's nothing. There's the digital, the Blu-ray copy, whatever they're projecting or whatever they have, just doesn't hold a candle to actually seeing film and seeing it not sharp. There's something to it where it's a little fuzzy, a little blurry.
Yeah,
I
like to see it a little blurry. I mean, there were certain movies that we showed Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
And it was a brand new print that they actually made because they did an anniversary edition for like the relaunch of the movie. So the print that we had was pristine. We were the first people to actually show that print that came to us brand new, never shown.
Oh, wow.
Which was cool.
That's
But,
gonna be awesome.
it's still different. I mean, I don't know. I have a hard
There's
time.
still grain there.
Yeah,
Like-
I have a hard time spending $10 to go to a movie theater to see a movie on Blu-ray. That you guys come over to my house, I'll let you drink, fucking sandwiches, you know what I'm saying? I got a 70-inch TV, I could barbecue like a motherfucker, and we'll enjoy it a little bit more than paying fucking some big theater to go see it and
Watch it in 3D.
I don't have the 3D yet. That's my next step.
Are you gonna do it?
I've been.
It gives me a headache, man.
Not yet. I haven't. I just bought a new TV and I didn't buy a 3D TV.
I like the idea of having
I
to
don't
wear
like it.
glasses, man. I don't like.
I know, and I'm not looking at it for the fact that I want to see television or anything like that, bro. There's certain movies. My wife.
Friday the 13th Part 3.
I was just gonna say that.
That movie looked like shit when it was on with the paper 3D. But like, I got my wife Finding Nemo. She loves that movie.
Yeah.
I think that movie would look awesome in 3D.
Yeah.
And then I got recently, was it Ant-Man or one of them other movies? If I find them at Zia Records, if I could find it used on 3D and Blu-ray to have both copies, I've been buying them like that.
Yeah.
So I have that 3D. So if I ever decide to go that route, I got some.
3D's done though already.
You think so?
Yeah, it's all about VR now.
I don't know. VR's got a long way to go.
No,
you need a pretty powerful machine.
They're already
to get,
they're already shooting movies with.
Yeah, but
with it.
actually to have like consumer level products, it's not. It's you still need a
Look how long it took us to
you
get
need a
3D.
pretty wicked computer to
2
use the
minutes.
Oculus
2
system.
minutes.
2-3 minutes.
3D's been going on since the 80s.
No, I
right?
know, but like to get it where we
Red Blue?
like there was Captain EO, and you had to go to goddamn like
Disneyland.
Disneyland to see that kind of stuff,
Which is great.
and it took forever to get it into like a theater where you were seeing it. I still think Captain EO looks better than
It looks amazing.
Jurassic World. I don't know why. I don't know why that robots and crap flying at my head. I don't know.
So when did you get into the writing game, into the book game?
Sure. I had the website and I loved writing, and I played music for a long time. I like to try to stay somewhat creative doing something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I go fucking nuts. And the website was more of a collaboration. It took a lot of us to do. Where the books I could do on my own. I could do on my own time, and I love to write. So I basically started putting together some ideas. I have like 10 books I'm working on right now. Like I get like a block on something and I move to the next thing. And then all of a sudden I get inspired to go back to the other thing. I got like all these crazy ideas. I got at any given time. There's usually a bunch because I like to keep doing. I jot shit down all day. I'm like a fucking mental case.
Yeah.
So I figured with the books, it's something that I could do on my own pace. I could do on my own time, and I don't have to rely on other people to do it.
Yeah, there's no real rush to get a book out. I mean, you're just your own. Like you're maybe rushing yourself because you're like, I got all these ideas and I want to get them down.
Yeah.
But you release them when you want.
I'm not up against a wire, and like playing in a band. It takes 4 or 5 guys to go to band practice, to be committed to it, to show up, to play shows, to do. I mean, it's just a lot. And the same with the website. It takes a few guys. It can't just be one guy working on a website. It takes a few guys one guy's handling this. Like you guys have a fucking great system. You're doing this, you're doing that. Everybody's doing a working thing together.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people have that kind of a good working relationship. So I started saying, you know what? Let me try writing a book. And the first book I did, it's all kinds of hate mail that I got from a fight that I got into with a singer
from
another band years ago. I saved all this hate mail that I was getting from all his fans, and I would read it to my friends, and we'd sit around and laugh. Like, I can't believe the fucking grammar on this guy. Like a guy sent me an email once, and he said if he could get out of the wheelchair, he'd strangle my fat neck. So, I said, well, man, wouldn't it be funny if...
that one got me.
Oh, God. Want to hear a good one? Hang on. I got some notes here. Here's one about the truffle shuffle, a guy told me.
Oh, God. Well, for those of you who don't know, the name of the book is Don't Ever Punch a Rock Star.
Yeah, it's a collection of hate mail and other crazy rumors. Here's Swashbuckling, the guy. I took some notes on... I was eating lunch today. I was like, I got to talk about some of these good ones. This guy sent me... This was an actual email that I got. Hitting a celebrity at your first show. Okay, it's our first show. There's no way to earn fans. Your band fucking sucks, and you guys will always be stupid labor workers. I would have defended Glenn. It was Glenn Danzig who I got in a fight with. If I was there, you're lucky in Cincinnati, you swashbuckling bitches. I was like, what the fuck?
Was it a pirate theme band you're in?
No, but I wish I was.
My God, you know what you should do? You should get a bunch of people and just like set a camera up and have different people reading this hate, like get them a little bit liquored up and have them read this hate mail in their best like.
I'm going to do
impression.
an audio book of this.
Perfect.
Oh, yes.
That would be
So
great.
that's something I've been working on. The book's been out a few years, and I've been revamping it because, I did this one really without an editor.
Yeah.
And you could tell I did it without an editor. And I kind of learned my lesson, but, from this book, I learned, to basically move on to do other stuff. Here's another good one here. Danzig, your music rocks, and don't trip. I'll get a hold of that Northside Queen and rape his bitch ass. Posted on YouTube. That was posted by Dr. Jones on crawdaddy.com. So I took emails that I got, and then stuff that people sent me online, and basically put together a funny book.
That's hilarious.
I wonder how many of those people bought that book.
Probably a lot.
So you won.
I wonder if this is the guy that bought it and was like, he didn't make the cut and he was like pissed about it.
Yeah.
Send you another.
email.
Send you a
Oh,
follow
what? I'm not good enough to be in the
I'm pretty sure I called him a queer and a fag. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure I wrote that down.
This book is full of fat comments, fag comments, queer comments, shitty band comments. One guy said he saw me deep throating a burrito somewhere.
Jesus
How
Christ.
long did it take for that to die down, for the hate mail to kind of trickle
Actually,
out?
the book stopped it.
Yeah.
That really made a big difference. I was getting it for almost 8 years.
Oh, wow.
The band was already we weren't playing anymore. And people would send my MySpace page stuff and then my Facebook page stuff. And really the book, it doesn't just have all the hate mail. It kind of tells a story about playing in a band, small band, touring, and then how like one quick action could really make a big change in your life. And also how like, before you get on the internet and start talking some shit to somebody, maybe think about it a little bit. There's a lot of young kids that, I can imagine if I was in high school today, you're getting fucked with at school and then you're getting fucked with when you get home because there's no getting away with it, I got bullied a lot when I was a kid, I fought a lot of kids. And, when I got home, it was off. When I got home, my mom was the smotherer from, like, the Goldbergs.
Yeah.
Like I got home and I could do no wrong. I was the greatest kid in the world. And imagine getting on a computer at that young age. I can't even imagine what kids go through today.
What do you think it tied down after the book? Do you think people heard your
I think
listen to your story.
people kind of got a little bit of the idea of, hey, what happened?
Uh-huh.
Because he told a lot of people that I stabbed him, and he put out a statement that I cut him with a sharp object. That's how it all started. The next morning, I got up and our band's email was flooded because he put out a statement that said I cut him with a knife. I fled the scene. So, long story short, that's how the whole email started. So,
Have you spoken to Danzig since?
no, get out of here.
So what was the next book after that?
Next book I did was the Mega Book of Revenge Films. I love revenge movies, and I was a little surprised with all the genres of films out there. There's horror books, there's all kinds of drama books. No one took revenge as a real serious category. And I mean, every type of film, whether it's a comedy, a horror movie, a blaxploitation or exploitation or vigilante, there's tons of revenge films in every aspect. So I started putting together a list of revenge movies I liked to turn into that book.
Wow.
Nice.
Which is only volume 1. It's 300 pages.
I was going to say, do you know how many films are in that book?
I couldn't tell you
roughly?
how many that are in there, but it's fucking jammed with movies.
Yeah.
And I left out movies like Kill Bill.
Yeah.
I put a thing in the back like, listen, not every revenge film's in this book. I'm doing multiple volumes because it's impossible to put them all in there, and I'm not going to blow my load all in one book. So I figured I'd spread it out, and some of the other movies that are bigger and smaller in both books. But this book's cool. It's got like interview with Lance Henriksen from Alien and
definitely.
Pumpkinhead.
Stone Cold, fucking awesome movie with Brian Bosworth. You guys do anything for that yet?
No.
Not yet.
Go get after it, Brian Bosworth with the fucking mullet. It's ridiculous. And then there's an interview with Heather Langenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nice.
The ultimate fucking revenge movie of all time. I mean, Freddy Krueger coming back.
Yeah.
And then Martin Cove from The Karate Kid. John Kreese, the teacher.
Yeah.
I interviewed him in there, and then there's other stuff. There's like sub chapters, like the best disabled kung fu movies, or 9 revenge films that define Steven Seagal.
I mean,
that's up
let's
Cody's
go over
alley.
them.
Yep,
Let's go over them because we
Talk about it
can.
right now.
Yeah,
Another
He's an
episode.
agent from CIA. He's an agent from. He's always X something.
I call him the chameleon in there. Because he's always like some other nationality in every movie. Like,
Yeah.
did you see Urban Justice, or was it Urban Justice, where his kid gets killed in the hood or something? And
Yeah, is that one that goes to Vegas? Through Vegas, like they go through.
I don't know. He's
even
like in
know.
the hood with his all hip hop, and he's like, yeah, brother, what's up?
Oh, was that
He
Glimmer
went
Man?
through. He went through his. He went through his New Orleans phase. He went through that phase where he did every movie he was Cajun in. You're like, why are you? Like what?
I don't think he actually knows
And now
what his
he's-
nationality is. at
He's
this
going
point.
through like a Russian phase now.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, listen. You look at the early Steven Seagal movies. You got Marked for Death,
Yep.
phenomenal. Out for Justice.
Yep.
Anybody seen Richie? Anybody know why Richie killed Bobby Lupo? That is one of the greatest movies of all time.
I love Out for
Yeah.
Justice.
Above the Law, Pam Grier.
Yep.
I mean, these movies were.
Which so I'm glad to hear because Marked for Death, and I've been telling everybody that Kill Bill is a goddamn ripoff of Marked for Death.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's got a lot of good elements in that there.
I think
Kill Bill-
the whole hospital scene. I'm like, is fucking Marked for Death.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's a Steven Seagal movie.
Steven's a local too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I saw
Shopping my Bevmo.
I actually saw some sign on the way to work yesterday. He's coming for some expo here, and there was like a picture of Steven. He's really fat now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I may be able to take Steven Seagal at this point.
Yeah, he is.
He's
local.
what's he like 6'7"
He's
or
he's,
6'5"
he's
or
huge
something?
because he came in when I worked at one Bevmo. He came in and Albert actually got a.
How did you not like fucking jump over to the counter and be like, ah?
I wasn't there at that time.
No, I don't know if I got you beat, but because there's no confirmation to this. But I worked in a video store for like 4 years,
yeah.
and I was working one of the day shifts, and this guy in like a business suit comes in, and he's on the phone yapping, talking loud, making sure everybody can hear that he's Mr. Important. You know what I mean? And so I'm walking around like putting movies away and stuff like that, and I walk by him, and he's like, "Hey, man, hey, what? I got Steven Seagal on the phone right now. You want to talk to him?" And I was like, okay. And so I like set the movies down, and he like gave me the phone, and I was like, hello. And he goes, "Hey, who's this?" And I'm like, this is Chris at Hollywood Video.
Because Chris is not a fan.
No,
not a huge fan.
I don't dislike Steven Seagal. I'm not a fan like you, but
Yeah.
but yeah. So he was like, "Hey, what's up?" And then I was like, "Oh yeah, nice to talk to you." And then just handed the phone back
How
really
fucking
quick.
awkward is that?
But the thing is, I have no idea if that was really Steven Seagal.
I
Like,
believe it's him.
I don't know.
I
who would
believe
just
it's you
pull-
want to believe.
Who would just
yeah.
pull some shit like that randomly? Like Steve, of all
I'm
the people.
going to start pulling that. Right now. I don't know what you're talking about. That's my new thing. Like, oh, that guy knows Steven Seagal. Put you on the phone with him. Hang on, you guys want to talk to him right now? Get him on the phone.
Just start
Yeah,
whispering.
Skype him in.
Hey, Larry, pretend to be Steven Seagal, okay?
Hey, fuck off. Nice tattoos.
Yeah, so I guess I kind of met him at one point.
That's awesome.
So where can people find your books at? Where can they get their hands on them?
Amazon is a great spot. I sell all 3 books. I have another book too of movie quotes. It's called the Belligerent Book of Movie Quotes.
Awesome.
I sell
That's
it. It's
fantastic.
cheap as fuck too. It's only like $5.95, and it's Amazon Prime, so you can get it with the free shipping. I basically was at like a store that had like the most loving quotes from movies of all time. I had like shit like from The Notebook and
Yeah.
On Golden Pond, and I'm like, man, I would love a book like full of like the angriest shit. So I basically put a book together with like, shit like, here, I'll just pull anything. If I had a nickel for every cigarette your mom smoked, I'd be dead. Donna from Twin Peaks, that one's not so belligerent. Shit-eating son of a bitch, bastard, douchebag, twat, numbnuts, dickhead, bitch. That was Bob
Please
Wiley.
tell me you have quotes in there from Street Trash, from the doorman and the. And
yeah.
what's his name?
I think
That
I
whole
do
thing.
have something
My
with James
mother
Jones there.
weeps because
Yeah.
she knows I work for you.
Yeah, here, Dirty Work. You got Goodfellas, even Parenthood. I wouldn't live with you if. What is it? I wouldn't live with you if the world were flooded with piss and you lived in a tree.
Amazing.
I mean, that's from Parenthood. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? My favorite one is the like Les Grossman in Tropic Thunder. Okay, Flaming Dragon, fuck face. First, take a big step back and literally fuck your own face.
So did you just like take notes as you were watching whatever films you wanted to watch, or did you?
I just, you see so many movies, you think of them, and
Yeah.
and as I said, as I'm working on other books. This book here, the Revenge book, has either like quotes from the movies or a tagline from the movie, and I started, hey, you know what? That's a really funny quote as well, and I'd write them down, and then I started thinking of like in this book here, the top 5 memorable dick insults that make me laugh every time I hear them. So I'll
I
give
can't
you
wait
those.
to hear this.
So number 5 is, if I had a dick, this is where I tell you to suck it. It's Mrs. Bickerman in Lake Placid.
Oh yeah,
Which was fucking Betty White, you know? Betty White with a mouth on her. And then I tell you to blow it out your ass, but my dick's in the way. Stacy and the Limey. Then you're going to look really funny sucking my dick with no teeth, which was Captain Hadley in The Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Such a sad scene, but every time he says that, I'm like, who the fuck would tell someone that? What an asshole. And then here's another one. Hey, try not to suck any dick on the way to the park.
Yes.
Dante and Clerks.
Hey, you get back here.
Here's my all-time favorite. I don't care if you wake up in a ditch with grown men shitting on you and jumping on top of your head. Maybe your nose will turn into a big old dick, and you could stroke that all the time. I hope your hair turns into dog shit one day. You wake up and you run your comb through it, and that's all it is. Little trundles of dog shit. The worst shit you could ever imagine. AIDS, it's cool. Everything comes around, sweetheart. That was Fred Simmons from the Foot Fist Way, which was basically Kenny Powers
Yeah.
in a karate movie before he, became Kenny Powers. He did a karate movie.
I actually really like that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
That movie's funny.
So yeah,
That's amazing. I love that.
So yeah,
I'd love to just get drunk and just start like reading from that book at a party or something.
yeah, it's good for that. You can pick a random one. I'm going to do another one like this, actually called the Belligerent Book of Music Lyrics, which is all like the fucking most retarded lyrics of songs and songs that you've heard, but you don't know what the fuck they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just lines that just don't make any sense at all. Like the song, I forgot the name of the metal band, but they have a song called "Let's Get Mangled." You're like, what? The lyrics are fucking awesome to it. So they're kind of like working on
A lot
that.
of
on the
Cannibal
side.
Corpse in that book.
Yeah, there'll still be some Cannibal Corpse. There'll be some good shit.
There was a metal show I went to one time, and the way that they introduced their song was they were like, this song is dedicated to all the girls who fart so hard they rip their thongs off. And then they just went into like the song. Like, it was amazing.
Did you join that band?
No, I wish.
Because you should have.
Amazing.
All right, guys. So go on Amazon, buy these books. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we are gonna talk about what the hell are we talking about?
My
tonight?
Science Project.
Oh yeah, my science project. We'll be right back.
You have the right to remain silent. You give up the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law.
Okay, McCloud.
You have the right to an attorney.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, you little cockroach.
Hey, what's the matter? I got boogers? Huh?
Hey, kid. Why do you wear sunglasses at night?
Because when you're cool, the sun shines on you 24 hours a day.
Oh, yeah?
Chill out, Butch. And get a shave.
All right, guys, we're back, and we're here, and we're going to talk about My Science Project. This is Danny's pick. It is from 1985. Who knows what the budget is? No one.
Shoestring, apparently.
Yeah, I got to ask Danny the question that we ask everybody when they pick a movie. Why'd you pick this movie?
It's like one of my favorites as a kid. I mean, it's got comedy, it's got science fiction. Back then, it kind of had cool special effects.
Yeah.
It reminded me. Have you guys ever seen House 2?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When they went into all the different worlds in House 2, it had a little bit of that element to it as well. It kind of in style towards the end of the movie. So I loved it. It was just a cool movie back then.
Anyone seen this before?
Tons of times.
Nope.
Nope.
My dad had I'm pretty sure my dad was the one that did it, but I'm pretty sure he recorded a VHS of this off of the one he rented from the video store, because the copy we had, when you hit play, it just fuzzed into the title, like the first 30 seconds or minute of the film is missing, like the alien going down and like the radio chatter and stuff. So yeah, and it was just bad tracking. But I used to watch this I used to watch this all the time, but almost as much as I used to watch Big Trouble in Little China as a kid.
Wow.
So
Danny, how did you find out about the film with like Back to the Future coming out that same year, being like just blowing everything out of the water? Like, it sounds like this one got passed up by a lot of people.
Yeah, like Monster Squad got passed up by the Lost Boys that year.
Yeah,
but kids still found it. I mean, I collected. I was really into Starlog and Fangoria, and Starlog always had like a movie like My Science Project would have definitely been featured in Starlog. So a lot of those magazines kind of kept me in a loop to finding new movies. And I mean, listen, you walked into a video store, there was like a fucking display for this movie, if I'm not mistaken. Even it's the most low budget display you've ever seen. But back then, I mean, the video store ruled. The covers, the poster. I mean, that's what you saw. I had a seat. I don't give a fuck what's in it. Chopping mall. It looks like Short Circuit with killing people in a mall. I'm like, this is awesome. I got to get it. So you were easily sold.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing we're learning on doing this podcast is cover arts, man. They
will mislead you.
They pull you in, and you get disappointed sometimes.
So if you don't know what this movie is about, it's about Michael. Basically, he has to turn in a science project before the end of school so he can graduate. He's kind of a gearhead, doesn't do really well with people. His girlfriend breaks up with him. He basically finds a new one really quick. And Ellie, or Ellie kind of finds him.
She kind of follows him.
Yeah, she kind of finds him because she screws up her car. They go on a date to a military junkyard that they're not supposed to be at, and he stumbles upon a alien, an
underground
bunker.
It's a fallout shelter that has the alien engine in it that crash landed in, was it 54? It was
57.
57.
And he's going to use that as his science project because he's not very he's mechanical, but he's not very sciencey.
Yeah.
And then what happens after that is Weird Science meets his Fast and the Furious. Basically, it's craziness.
Well, he takes it back and he polishes it up and discovers that it's still active by pushing the right buttons, basically, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes to life. This engine, and he takes it to his
and it's like a dimensional
time warp,
which I thought was like a cool idea, but it was like, I don't know. The first half of this film, I watched the movie twice, like I usually always do, and the first half of the film, the first time I watched it, really bugged the shit out of me. I didn't like it, mostly because of Michael.
Up until he finds the engine.
Like up until like basically, yeah, like until they get into the classroom with Bob and set the whole thing off.
Yeah, it's definitely drags. It definitely drags the first half for sure.
But I feel like it's Michael's performance.
I didn't have a problem with him.
I checked the timelines on how this film progresses, and it is like 30, 40 minutes before something, like they even turn the machine on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like stuff going on at the beginning with him and Ellie and, you know, the nerd being kind of in love with Ellie. There's just a bunch of stuff going on that they try to like build up the characters, but I just felt like it went on a little too long before we actually turn on the machine and actually something happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, I understand where you're coming from on that one.
It reminded me of the pace of Independence Day. So Independence Day, it's kind of shitty for a little while, and then the movie really picks up, and then it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one thing. Looking back at my science project, I'm like, oh, okay, it's kind of the Independence Day pace.
I kind of like that they kind of did I like to refer to it as Lord of the Rings ending. Like you feel like the movie has ended. They destroyed the power line. They stopped it from getting any more energy, and then there's like a whole third act that fucking follows that where the nerd plugs it back in, and then they have to like fight their way through the school. Like I kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I liked it. I'm not dissing it. I like it. I was one of my picks here, so.
Well, maybe we can change that by the end of this episode. I'm just kidding.
No, because it's weird. Like watching it, I'm like, there's elements and stuff that I like about it, and there's elements that I don't like about it. But in watching it, I'm like, if I was in the '80s watching this, and I was like a teenager, would I be sitting there going like, what the fuck is this? Like, I feel like it's like a hodgepodge of a movie. It's like seven movies.
So.
I feel like it's 7 movies put together.
I don't think so.
As
But
one.
I mean, again, I like it. But if I was a teenage watching it when it first came out, I'd like go out and buy his car. Like hands down, his car is badass.
You wouldn't think it was
as a teenager?
Yeah.
You wouldn't think it's a little ridiculous, just like, oh, they found an alien device and now.
Wait,
No.
wait.
I mean, there's so many more plots out there that are just
Weird
I know.
Like the explorers. Like, hey, we found this thing, and now we're going to build a spaceship. We're going to fly out in space. And we're going to meet the aliens for the first time. Just me, River Phoenix, and that's what it is.
Out of trash cans. Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel like a lot of these films in the 80s were. It was like kids empowerment kind of thing, you know?
1985.
Yeah.
I mean, that's when this movie came out, and it's got that 1985 feel.
Oh,
to
it definitely does. And I don't think I think now for the film, it might be a good thing.
Well,
right, because it's the nostalgia and the pop culture and all that stuff. I can definitely, don't get me wrong, I see how it's a cult film and stuff like that, but I couldn't help while watching it, like trying to put myself like in a theater at the time watching it and being like, would I buy this shit?
Like, I don't know. I mean, again, going back to like a weird science, like you really gonna be able to create like a woman, like.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like a suspension.
Yeah,
of
but know what you know about computers now.
You can make a time machine out of a DeLorean.
Yeah, but here's the
human.
Here's the thing though. Is like I'm not a gearhead, so I'm not really into cars, and I didn't connect to that. But I definitely am into women, so weird science is a little more relatable.
Kelly LeBrock is still pretty hot.
Yeah. Exactly.
But the thing was, it wasn't about like, oh, like I'm gonna find an alien engine. Like,
no, what this movie was really about.
Young love.
Young love.
That's true. That was a prevalent theme throughout.
That's one of my. This is one of the things I'm going to cheer this movie to death about. Is I love that the nerd girl gets the guy in the movie.
Me too.
Yeah,
loved it. I kind of fell in love with Ellie.
Thank you.
Film.
First time seeing this movie too, I'm like, oh my god, I have a new '80s crush, and she is amazing.
Especially when she's leaning over. When he's in the bunker, I don't know if you guys noticed that.
I know
scene,
exactly what you're talking about.
Low cut cleavage, and they sexed her up a little bit for the date, and like all of a sudden she went from the girl with the car problem that talked him into a date to like, hey, you know what? She kind of dolled up a little bit.
Yeah,
I do want to talk about something that struck me as different for these types of films. The interesting thing I thought about this film was normally when you talk about things like Revenge of the Nerds, there was this whole theme about like nerds getting like they're the ones that win in the end, you know. But this film, it was like. Kind of like the bullies win, like because the gearhead. I mean, he's pretty cool. He's all right with everybody, but Fisher Stevens' character, he's just taking people's lunch money
Oh,
the
dude, I
whole
love
time.
him.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, he's a complete dick.
Oh, that part when they like, was he at like the nerd was talking on the phone at the
Oh,
phone
yeah.
booth and he just like throws him out of the way and
Yeah.
like, oh, I laughed so
and he's
hard.
kind of, I wouldn't say he's a villain per se, the nerd of the film,
No, but
he definitely is jealous of Mike for kind of stealing Ellie from him.
Sherman's the villain, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Well,
Sherman's
not
definitely.
Sherman.
Yeah, Sherman the nerd is the villain, hands down.
Think so?
Yes.
Why
I
do you
think
that?
I think he
Well,
has
he
one
helps them.
one moment where he does his jealousy kind of takes over, but he redeems himself at the end.
He fucks up his car. Number one, you don't touch a man's car.
He didn't fuck up his car. He just hired.
Okay, he didn't. He didn't. He hired people to do it. He didn't do that. So because he's jealous of him of Michael and Ellie's relationship. So he hires the thugs to vandalize his car, right? And then at the end, he's like waiting for her because he wants to play hero because she knows she's involved, and he does like the I'm help. Like every villain does this. They think what they're doing is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out, like, in their head, it's good, but no, it's not good. It's, like, evil. And that was his thing. It's like, I know, I'll tell him, that I'll lie for you, basically, and we can run off together, but fuck it, I'm going to turn this on real quick.
He had the greatest lines in that movie, though. Like the scene with the car, when he hit the button and the middle finger came up.
Oh, my God.
He goes, sit on this, butt plug.
Oh, Vincent? No. He had the best lines in the movie. His character
Vince?
It was my Vince,
Every
sorry.
line he says is a one-liner.
It's fucking great.
All of his dialogue is a joke.
Man, I'm gonna disagree. I feel,
What? Oh!
I feel like the director just went like, "Hey, be as irritating as possible, like all the time."
No.
Yeah.
Like I felt like it was overload.
I mean, I'm with you
I thought
on
it was,
that.
I understand he was supposed to be the comedy relief friend to the serious hero, but I also felt like they just pushed it too. They just
Like
pushed it a little
relentless.
too
I think
much.
I think that was the point. It was, I need you to be a New Yorker, but I need you to be a New Yorker on 20. Because most New Yorkers are already on 10.
He was from Brooklyn. And
Yeah.
Back in Brooklyn, a girl give us a little static, we give him one of these. He was
You
like,
give him the old 1-2.
Yeah, 1-2. Who's he giving a 1-2?
I don't know. Yeah.
And then he said flamed out a lot.
Yeah.
Which every time somebody dies, they got flamed out. And he said it like, I noticed it like multiple times, which I'm like, oh, what does that mean? And, even when he said, because he made the reference to Michael, who's also the main star, was also in Christine.
Mm-hmm.
And he made that reference that said, I seen this movie with this haunted car flames this guy out.
Yeah.
It's like a little nod to his previous role.
A little bit of a nod, but he still said the flame out.
Yeah.
When if you watch it again, you'll see.
Are they trying
flame
to
out
like
5 times.
coin some new phrases in this film or
Could be.
something?
It could be.
Bitch or something.
Yeah.
I agree with you though, Mike. I do think that it did get irritating after a while.
No, I thought it got better as it went on.
Well, I read a review. Somebody wrote about it saying like, they did try to give it some comedy relief with his character, but I don't think it was too much. I do think it was too much at certain points.
So. I don't think so.
You're
He's hilarious.
too wrong.
I don't know. I feel like this is Fisher Stevens'
it's 2 against
entire
2.
career from 85 to 87. It's playing like these really weird like stereotypes that just push it too far, like
What
in
year did
Short Circuit.
Circuit come out? What year was that?
That was like
86.
86? Yeah.
It's like playing the male version of Rizzo from Grease,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
But
But this
a
guy's
really
not
good example.
Italian.
Yeah.
He's not Italian. Fisher Stevens is not Italian. He's not Indian. And I think it was My Boss's Daughter. He plays Mexican.
Well, listen, half of Dances with Wolves were Italian.
That's
guys.
true.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like
that guy's not an Indian. That guy's fucking Sicilian.
I never got
Sicilian,
work.
I can see it.
I never got work, and I'm Italian.
There you go.
No, I would take it.
You should have went on the set of Dances with Wolves. They would have put you right.
They would have put me right in as an extra.
No, I mean, as far as like the pacing and stuff like that, yeah, it's a little wonky. But the characters, like Michael, I had a little hard time with at first because, like I said, I just don't relate. I was raised by women. I don't relate to a gearhead, so it was like I didn't get it at first. It took me a little bit for him to grow on me. He eventually grows on me, especially like towards the end and stuff like that. But
It's funny you say that because as an adult, I noticed that he was a gearhead, but as a kid, I didn't even think anything of it.
Yeah.
Well, because as a
I
kid,
just
you're
thought he was
just
like cool as fuck.
He was like a guy with a cool car and got a lot of pussy.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
see, he doesn't though because he doesn't get a lot of pussy. He had the girlfriend that he didn't really take care of because he was too into cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but he probably got a lot of pussy before that.
I'm sure.
And he's got so much pussy in the junkyard.
Well, see, no, what I liked about his character though is like, yeah, at first they play him off like that, but then when he goes and he has that conversation with Dennis Hopper about, he needs to finish his science project or else he can't, pass or whatever. He becomes kind of humble about it. Like, look, like I'm not really good at this kind of thing. Like, and he kind of like levels with him, but you can tell that he's smart. And like even Dennis Hopper recognizes that he is an intelligent person. Like maybe that he just needs to try. And I was like, okay, that's what kind of sold me like on his character. And then I thought he carried it through just fine through the rest of the film. Like there was nothing.
He definitely got stronger as the film went on. Just for some reason those first couple of scenes, like it just didn't work for me. But Hopper has like one of my favorite lines when he's talking to him about meeting them back at the school at 9. Which is when he's going to the anti-war alumni meeting.
Yeah,
I was like, that's so funny to me.
What's
I don't
with
know
the
why.
real quick? What's with the? Is he like huffing CO2 or something
Yeah, I
out
don't
of
know
that?
what that
He's doing whippets, bro.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah,
Whippets?
It reminded me a little bit of Blue Velvet
Yeah, agreed.
when he was huffing.
But this is before Blue Velvet, right?
This was after Blue Velvet.
Oh, was it after Blue Velvet?
Blue Velvet was before.
Yeah, wasn't that like the 7th, 8th?
I can't remember.
I'm not gonna try to
Yeah.
guess.
I can't remember.
Don't do that.
But yeah.
Anyways,
what was that? Like, I felt like that was almost like, is that for the adults? Like, did the adults get that joke? Or
I have
was
a
it just
question
a
for
weird
the
thing
whole-
Dennis Hopper threw in there?
I have a question for the whole table about Dennis Hopper in this film. Like,
Blue Velvet was a year after.
it was.
Oh, well,
I
fuck
knew
us.
it had to be somewhere around there.
I'm way off.
It's okay. It's no big deal. Do you think that like Dennis Hopper just walked in and he said, "Look, I'm going to give you like 3 good scenes."
Yep.
And
think so.
I'm out. Like, do you like?
Yes.
He doesn't seem like he looks. I don't want to say he's phoning it in because what he does is real big in this film. But
I don't know.
how little they show of him makes me feel like they're like, "Look, we can pay you like $30,000 maybe," and
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
"Look, you get 3 scenes from me,
What was-
and I'm out,
And I get to do whatever I
I'll
want.
wear the Easy Rider
Yeah.
thing and I'll leave or whatever." Like,
What was Dennis Hopper really like? Was he doing in the 80s, like in the mid 80s?
Well, no.
Like because he
Blue
did
Velvet.
he did
Yeah.
he did Chainsaw Massacre 2. He didn't even
Right.
want to do that. He did. I feel like he did a lot of movies.
Well,
for
no,
money during the 80s.
from what I've heard about Dennis Hopper in general, and I don't know if this is true. I've just heard this from like a guy that made a movie with him. I heard from him, and he's like, I was like, "How'd you get Dennis Hopper?" And he's like, "Well, basically, Dennis Hopper put him room and board and give him money, he'll do anything." Basically,
Really?
he's like, "Yeah." He's like, if you wanted to shoot in a hotel room, right after you got off the airport, the hotel at the airport, he's like, he would do it. You just got to pay him.
Waterworld makes sense. Waterworld.
And, okay, number one, Waterworld is a gem of a film.
They made a
Jesus.
theme park around Waterworld.
That's true. Six Flags.
That's right. They had the show, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's probably still
Actually,
going.
I'm pretty sure I went
It
and
is. I
saw
saw it a
that.
couple years ago.
way.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
still going.
I went there 3 years ago, and it was still going strong.
That's so nuts.
How is Waterworld still going
The
strong?
show
3
is
years
pretty
ago?
fucking good, man.
I think I
It's
saw it
better
when I
than
was
the
a
movie?
kid.
Yeah, it's
We
more
went there.
popular. I love Dennis Hopper though. Even if that is
No.
his MO or whatever, like I think he does a great job, and he brings like his presence is always very well known on screen. Like,
The 3 scenes that he's in, he was awesome in.
Yeah.
But did anybody get the idea he was supposed to be the villain?
No.
No.
Like in the second scene? What's with the maniacal laugh?
He's Dennis Hopper.
He's getting-
he's seeing through the time space continuum, and he's a science teacher.
But
He's
it's the
probably
most
like having an
evil
orgasm.
laugh I've ever
his
heard.
mind is being blown, Mike.
Yeah, he was fucked up on drugs too.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
a good point. That's
Yeah,
right.
he's
He was
huffing
He was
gas.
on the whippet.
Oh, yeah. He's right in the classroom. Pulled that shit right out of his
Yeah, but
drawer.
I
I
know.
don't give a fuck. You guys are all getting A's.
Kid
Get
didn't
the
even
fuck outta
bat an
here.
eye too. It was like so like normal. Or
Yeah.
They don't pay teachers enough. They don't pay 'em
Even
enough.
back then.
Even back then. It was worse then. Had to do whippets at your desk just to get through the day.
I felt like there was something kind of unexplained about Michael's relationship with his father, and his father, getting married like behind his back, essentially.
It's something they don't really, they
They
don't really delve
touch
into it
on
too
that,
much.
and I don't really know what point they were trying
yes,
to make.
I do, because you need to start paying attention to some of these movies. What that is saying is why he's more into cars than why he is into people.
Because he's trying.
Father doesn't relate to him?
Well, no,
He doesn't have a good
He doesn't have.
You,
He
I
doesn't.
get where you're
Yeah,
coming
he
from
does.
over here.
He doesn't have a good relationship with his father. Obviously, his mother's not in the picture, be it dead, gone, or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't really explain that, but you can see that his home life is not the best, and this is maybe why he puts his head into cars so much and not people.
But the problem I have with that is his dad does seem pretty open and accepting towards
He's bringing
him.
chicks in. They're down for like son, dad things.
Well, he does say, "Dad, I'm going to grab a beer."
Yeah.
It's just like it's no big deal.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, but
Kids need
I didn't
structure,
get the
Chris.
impression that his dad was like a prick that like was like just go do something, son. Like he was like when he'd show up, he'd be like, "Oh, there's food if you want some food," or at the end he's like, "I tried to tell him what happened," and like.
There's food if you want some food as the dog's eating it.
Yeah.
I'm with Chris, though.
There's hints here, Chris. I understand that you wish you had the party dad, but kids need rules.
I'm craving the party dad.
The party dad.
That was missing from my life.
What were you gonna say, Kyle?
No,
Stick up for the party dad.
I was just gonna agree with Chris. I didn't see the dad as like not as being like neglectful.
It was
or
subtle.
Something.
It was subtle. They didn't make him they didn't make him like a
just
terrible person.
It seemed like the mother had passed or gone away or something, and it's basically like it's two grown men living together, like almost like roommates. That's basically the impression I got.
That's why he's so effed up and he can't relate to people.
He's not
until
effed up.
Yeah, until Ellie comes along and sets him free spiritually. Did you not watch this movie?
I gotta agree with you. I think you're right.
Yes.
I didn't look at it on that aspect when I watched it. It didn't really play out. That fucking lady that his father's with is just so disgusting.
But
salesman.
But even when the connection when he comes home and the drapes are all pink, the whole room's pink, whatever, and he's like, "Oh, this is great," whatever. Like he's pitching a fit about it, essentially. Like the new stepmom, seems like genuinely hurt by like his.
I don't think
comments.
I don't think she's a terrible person, but I don't think she knew what she got herself into either.
She didn't know him.
Yeah, they just got married on a whim, which tells you how crazy his dad is. Who knows what stepmom this is? We don't know if this is stepmom.
It could be
number
number 3
5.
or 4. Yeah, we don't know. That's true.
Let's even go deeper. People are complicated. They change their minds and stuff like that. But cars, they always stay the same. They always work the way you want them to.
Yep.
You keep them clean.
As long as you know how
keep
to
them
fix 'em.
oiled.
Put some gas in a car
That's
and you
what we do.
cruise.
And it runs.
Look at that. Yeah.
There we go.
Wow, so deep.
This movie has never been so fucking analyzed. Ever.
That's what this movie was missing. Was like an in-depth conversation.
Exactly.
But no, see, that's the things I also like about it. Like, because I was thinking about it and it was sort of like, is this a bad script? Like, and it's not. It's actually a really good script in my opinion.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think maybe it hurt by question mark budget.
Yeah, unreleased, still yet unreleased budget. But
I don't know. Can I talk about something? I want to talk about the Tyrannosaurus scene.
Good.
I thought that was pretty solid.
It looked great.
It was really
Like
good.
if this was a shoestring budget, they spent it in the right area. Because I was like,
No,
this
I
ain't
agree.
that much different than Jurassic
But even
Park.
even the effects, like all the like lightning effects and everything. I mean, it was very close to like Ghostbusters.
The weird effect, the weird effect though was when he shot the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the gut with like the grenade.
Yeah.
And it just left a big glowing hole.
It's great.
And it's like, yeah, I know, but I was like,
that was an incendiary round. It just kept burning.
I thought he was gonna walk through that hole for a minute.
But you don't know.
Very
No
different
one's
film.
really seen a Tyrannosaurus get shot with like a grenade launcher.
Yeah,
No.
you just
So you
gotta-
don't know how it would actually burn. It's just anybody's portrayal of what that could actually be.
there you
There's a
go.
lot of guts in there to put that thing out.
I know. I wish there would have been like guts that fell out. It just would have been a
This
little
is
bit
a kids
more.
movie.
Again, shoestring budget.
And then like Vincent came up with guts all over him, like when he pulls him out of the fog.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fog.
Yeah, a lot of fog.
a lot of fog in
Yeah,
that
the
school.
fog budget was huge.
You think it was to hide though? I mean, what was going on?
That's
around
what
it?
you do when you don't have a budget. You just amp up the fog.
I
No, I
think it was
disagree.
just to make it look more
No,
supernatural.
dude, I think that this film is actually a great use of budget. If you take a look at the use of budget, like yes, I think the fog was set there to like to hide things and make things look more grandiose than they were.
They put the money in the right spot. They put it in the third act of the film, which is where it belonged. That's why the first 40 minutes, whatever, is like stale. I mean, it's just like any other. Dude, you can go watch anything on Sci-Fi Channel. Like the first 45 minutes of the film, nothing happens, and then whatever creature or whatever it's about appears in like the last fucking 30 minutes or 20 minutes. That's what they put all their money. So I applaud them for doing that.
I agree. They totally got the engine from the Sharper Image. That's definitely something that they got.
That's it's a Sharper Image
Yeah, it totally
globe.
is, yeah.
They just built it.
I'm not.
This movie made me want to own one of those globe things.
It was a globe and like a Japanese mandolin, and they just put it together. And they said, "Here we go. It's an engine from the future."
I was a little confused on how he thought or why he would think, maybe you guys can answer this, to hook up a battery to it. Like, why was that?
Because it was sucking
gearhead.
Yeah.
He knows,
it was sucking the power out of the batteries. So obviously the next step would be a bigger fucking battery.
Well, he had the flashlight. The
Yeah,
flashlight
and it
got
sucks
sucked
the
out,
energy
and he
out of it.
realized that.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, well, let's see what we do with the
Chris would have
battery.
just been stuck in the fucking dark, scared.
Cringing in the corner.
No, I wouldn't have even fucked with that. None of this would have happened.
I wouldn't have left my house to go to a junkyard in the first place.
That is the coolest
I don't know,
effing junkyard.
If there was like an Air Force junkyard, I'd probably try to like break it at night. At
That's
least
some of
once
my
as a kid.
favorite cinematography in
That's
this
not
movie.
the one from Tucson, is it?
It is. Well, no, I mean, not
I don't
that, but
think-
a
I don't
lot of this film was shot in Tucson.
Yeah. Well, Tucson has that one that's in Can't Buy Me Love.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You guys ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've not seen that movie.
Great
So
movie.
Yeah.
We got to do it
My
sometime.
boss was in that movie.
Awesome.
She's a small cameo role in the movie. I
No
found
shit.
Her. Yeah, but they filmed that at high school in Tucson. But yeah, they go to that junkyard in that movie, so I thought that may have been the same
It
Air
could
Force
be.
one.
Actually.
Very well could have been.
There's not a lot of information about the production of this film
No.
out there.
They shot it in Tucson, Arizona, and they shot it in like Glendale, California, were like the two main locations for.
no, that junkyard though, just like on camera, I was like, this is the fucking coolest framing shots you can have set up
Yeah.
with just like rows of helicopters.
I thought it was
and
cool because like
planes.
there's a lot of movies that have utilized that like Air Force junkyard, but it's usually always during the day. Like this, it's like it's cool to see it at night and see how they lit it, and it just looks more ominous and more like a graveyard than anything.
it's got
else.
a rat floor problem, but
That does have a rat problem.
It has a rat problem and a security problem, for Christ's sakes. I mean, I
One
love
guy
guy
for
for the
that
film. The
huge
guy says
junkyard?
like, "We got to put this somewhere where no one else will find it."
Well, prior to this movie coming out, people
Puts
weren't
it
breaking
right
into
back.
these
back where
junkyards.
kids were able to get it.
Where they stumbled onto it
Yeah.
on accident. Yeah. Yeah.
I like how the box on it too is like "Do not open," and he's like reading it all. And he's like, "Yeah,
I think
take this
they're-
out of here."
there is an unsung character, I think, we haven't discussed yet, and that's the sheriff or the cop.
Oh
Like,
God, the cop.
yeah, he is. I loved his demeanor
He's a
in the
good-
film.
He's been in quite a few films.
Yeah,
too.
when he's
Yeah,
waiting in
it-
the room,
Yeah.
waiting in the room for him with no warrant, and the parents are surprised that he's
Yeah.
in there.
I don't have a
He was
problem
in
with
it.
that.
He was in
yeah,
it.
He got his head chopped off. It was in the fridge,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think, in that scene. He was also the father and licensed to drive. Why drive
yeah.
Corvette when you could ride a Mercedes
Yeah,
or
yeah,
whatever?
yeah.
He was the dad in that movie. He's in a lot of movies.
Yeah, I liked him in this one for sure.
Mr. Boogedy was a Disney movie.
I love that movie.
Yeah, he was the father in that too.
Oh my
He
god,
was in
it's
a lot
been
of cool movies.
dec-
Yeah, he's in the
decades.
Thing too.
Yeah, The Thing.
Mm-hmm.
But he plays a fantastic asshole.
Douchebag.
Yeah, I feel like he's playing kind of like Dennis Hopper in Texas Chainsaw Massacre too.
Yep. Yeah, I see that for sure.
yeah.
like a little bit.
Also, what caught me off guard was that scene. I think it was more close to the beginning when they're sitting in class, and Vince has just got like a half a cigar hanging out of his mouth the whole time.
Yeah.
Typing class.
Yeah, so I'm like, really?
He's typing with the one finger.
Yeah, yeah. So good.
That was me in typing class. That did not work out well for me.
What, the one hand you had to use
I was like,
too?
well, no, because I was like, when am I ever going to need to learn how to type?
Yeah.
Wow,
Fast
that-
forward.
that is a weird thought to have.
Yeah.
I was typing on computers when I was in like first grade.
So was I, but it wasn't like there was jobs centered around it at the time. Like,
When I was in high school, we had computers and we had Oregon Trail.
Oh, yeah.
That was about the extent of our computer.
That was my
knowledge.
kindergarten,
Floppy
man.
disk.
That was my kindergarten. I was playing Oregon Trail.
that's what I'm saying. Like, if I would have
That
found
math
hard
blaster.
Kindergarten.
disk.
That was like my sophomore year.
Hard disk is the opposite. Floppy disk is a hard disk. And hard disk is a floppy disk.
oh,
Wait,
there
what?
it is.
What are we talking about
Right?
here?
Yeah, hard disk is
Right,
it's
just
the big giant
looks around
floppy
the
one.
room
That
to
are
get the
flexi.
confirmation.
That's a
Yeah.
hard disk.
That's
Oh,
a hard disk.
didn't know that.
Boom.
That's why I was like, why aren't they freaking out about this device that obviously came from Spencer's Gifts?
Why would they freak out about it? It's glowing. It looks cool, and it's going to get him an A and get him the hell out of high school. That's all he gives a shit about.
Until his teacher disappears.
Until they travel 3 hours into the future.
2 hours.
2 hours? Whatever.
School's over.
Who cares?
Which never happened again, really, did it?
They
in the
don't really
film?
mention
Like,
the time. Yeah, that's the weird thing. They really don't mention.
Well,
the time thing
it does happen again because the entire school is stuck in like a time warp.
Yeah,
they
yeah.
experienced only what that small battery could have produced, which was a
Okay.
2-hour jump. But being hooked up to the actual grid, the power grid of the town, now you're like going.
Oh, that's when
you're going in
yeah.
the future. You're going into the back, in the past. Yeah,
Going to the future, going into the back.
yeah, back in the future.
back the front.
Any huge dislikes from anyone?
Who wants to start?
I don't have any.
Really? You have none.
Nope, none.
Mike has one. It sounds like
I thought the pacing was off.
he's a little off.
It's definitely off. I don't know that.
Oh, I just
Again,
have
I've already
one.
talked about. I didn't like Vince.
See, I think you're wrong.
Bothers
on that,
me.
though.
He's bothered me the whole time.
It's just an opinion. He can't be wrong.
Yeah, you can.
I would also say my biggest issue was with the pacing overall of the at least of the first 40 minutes of the film.
My biggest issue is still to this day is they have yet to release a version of it where the audio isn't shitty. The audio is
Yeah?
fucking
Oh, yeah.
terrible. It's
It
like
is.
this weird, like all the exterior scenes sound like they're recorded like ADR inside of like a church or
A
something.
fucking
It's like-
warehouse. It
yeah,
has
it's
an
just
echo.
these big echoey voices and stuff. Like the audio just needs to be cleaned up and needs to be done right because I feel like it fucking detracts me from the movie. I think that's why I don't notice how bad the first 30 minutes are because for the most part I ignore the first 30 minutes because most of the audio issues are in the first 30 minutes, so I'm not even paying attention at that point.
My big complaint is if Eisenhower comes in and they got a spaceship
Yeah.
and he says, get rid of the spaceship.
Who the fuck keeps an engine?
You get rid of the fucking spaceship. That's the president telling you
Yeah.
back then to get rid of it. And like, they saved that one odd piece.
They saved the engine. That was it. And it's like, why would you? Keep
Apparently,
it?
the most disastrous piece.
Yeah.
Because it can throw you into a time loop and kill everybody.
Come on, you guys are a bunch of
They're
fucking
just
idiots,
holding
you know?
on to it till they got a president who came around to be like, yeah, go ahead and research that.
Barack Obama.
And there was supposed to be some aliens in the original. I think they filmed, but was taken out, and I've never seen any footage with it.
What's up?
That's a complaint I have. Since I didn't know anything about this movie, I kept expecting there to be aliens popping up in this film, and it never happened.
I read somewhere years ago that there was aliens, and they didn't look good, so they didn't use them.
My biggest complaint is what didn't look good. I think the worst special effect in the movie, the Neanderthal, that looked like
You didn't like that?
It looked like the ape soup from the Three Stooges.
He looked like Beastman from the He-Man Masters of the Universe.
Yes, he did.
He had the drool and everything.
They're like, what is that? It's a Neanderthal.
That
No,
didn't
no,
bother
that's
me
not.
too much. I don't know why. Was it Vince or Michael was fighting him with a shotgun when they could have just shot him, or was it
Yeah.
already out of ammo? I
No, it
don't
wasn't
know.
out of ammo at that point. But the guy came at him with like
an axe or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know why they call him a Neanderthal. He's just big. He's like a Bigfoot.
I thought he was a
Yeah.
werewolf.
Like a werewolf, some shit.
You really
Some kind of
can't make
mutant.
out what he. Well, no, the mutants come later with their laser guns.
That's true. That's true.
Michael Berryman was a mute.
And if you
Oh,
notice,
really?
I put "of course" next to that because he always plays a mutant. Like
It's a sin the way the guy looks. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
he's made a damn good career out of it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'll say that. I mean, even like Weird Science, he was one of like the mutant
He was one of the
bikers.
the weird biker
Yeah.
guys.
Of course, Hills Have Eyes.
Yeah, I mean that goes without saying.
Yeah.
Right.
God bless him.
Special effects were, I think, great in this movie. Otherwise, from the Neanderthal, though, the T-Rex looked awesome. I even like all the laser light show that's going on. It looks like an Ozzy Osbourne concert I went to once.
Oh,
See how
yeah.
I did that. Drop that line right
Yeah,
there.
you got a quote in there. Good job.
That's a line.
Yeah, that was good. No, that was good. I was impressed. Like I said, it reminded me a lot. There were a lot of these effects that reminded me of Ghostbusters.
No, I agree.
So, like, even like, when they do have that shot of the building and the clouds are swirling above it,
That looked really good.
I thought that looked great.
Solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. Evil Dead 2 cloud footage. Like with the cloud.
It's like they just
spinning.
copied and
Right.
paste.
I was waiting for.
We'll take that.
Yeah,
Waiting for an Oldsmobile to go flying
yeah.
by.
a tree to go flying
That would
through
have been
it.
amazing. Oh,
It
God.
definitely was the same style of footage.
What is that?
I don't know. My ears are ringing like the Gong Show. I can't hear nothing. Whoa! And I don't see that, neither.
Sharman?
Got me, Mike. Oh, terrific. The answer man is stumped.
This plant has been extinct for 60 million years.
Yeah? Well, I ain't never seen one before.
All right, so let's just rate this Mammer Jammer, shall we?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Danny, it's your pick. What do
Danny,
you want to rate it?
What do you want to rate it? It's usually something we usually pick something from the movie that is easy to Photoshop.
You're probably gonna have to say that engine, if that's a possibility for you guys to.
I'm sure that's a possibility.
We can figure it out.
The alien engine itself?
If not, we'll just use a fucking car engine.
Alien engines?
Or just go to take the sharper image fucking thing. Yeah. What's the difference? Just want to know.
Just a ball with lightning in it.
What the lightning orb? So it's
Yeah.
called lightning orb.
Yeah.
We'll call them alien engines.
Alien engines.
I really like this movie. I didn't like it as much as an adult recently as watching it as a kid. Some of those movies you step back to when you rewatch and you go, like Mr. Boogedy, we were just saying, I tracked that one down. And I was like, this is fucking horrible. But I fucking loved that movie when I was a kid. I still think this movie holds water, and I'm glad I bought it on Blu-ray, which looks pretty good, but the audio is still shitty. I'll probably watch it a couple more times, in my life. I'm going to give it a 4. You guys go by
5
out of 5, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 4.
4.
It had a few flaws. It wasn't as bad as some of you guys are making it out to be, but I like it.
All right, Chris.
Oh, first time watching it, and I'm actually happy that I watched the film. Like, it definitely has a feeling that I love. If I can imagine that if I was, a kid, a 5-year-old kid, like watching this film, 5 to 10, like I probably would have loved it. I do complain a little bit about the pacing or whatever, but like overall, like I did like the characters. I loved Dennis Hopper in the film. I loved all the effects, and I loved how it progressed to be this really awesome, like action fantasy kind of thing going on at the end. I think the movie ran maybe a little too long, but that doesn't really kill it for me. And the sound thing, I didn't really notice the sound issue, but I
watched it on YouTube.
I didn't know.
I did watch it on
You
YouTube.
watched it on YouTube?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not gonna notice it on those little speakers.
So
All right, maybe that's the reason.
So overall, pretty fun movie. I think everybody should, if you like films like Weird Science or Back to the Future or Ghostbusters, like you would probably find something you do like about this film. And I'm gonna give it a 3. 3 alien engines.
3 alien engines from Chris. Next up is Kyle.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it 4 alien engines. I'm gonna have to agree with Danny. This is a movie that I watched a bunch as a kid, and yeah, as an adult, as we've experienced over and over again while doing this podcast, a lot of these movies from your childhood just don't hold up. But this is one of the ones that, I mean, still this day, it's just a fun movie. There's faults to it, yeah. There's like, the pacing's off, or maybe some of the dialogue might be off here or there. But overall, it's fucking entertaining. I like to sit down and just watch this movie. I've seen it hundreds of times. I'll probably see it several more times. But I love this movie, so I'm gonna give it 4.
Good luck seeing it again when I
Oh,
have
real
your
quick,
DVD
I want to do
copy.
I want to do a shout out, Shout Factory, for the love of God, get the rights to this movie and do a special edition release of it, please, 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 so I can get a good audio version.
So I got your DVD and you're not getting it back.
No,
No, just kidding. I
thought you
That's
didn't
fine, I'll
watch
buy the
DVDs.
Blu-rays.
I have it in my bag. No, so I'll go next. I am going to give this. I'm going to stick with Chris on this one, 3. But I'm going to say this: barring watching again, it can change, because I feel like this movie is one of those ones you need to watch multiple times to get everything.
Mhm.
There's so many jokes in this movie. There really is. Like Vince,
Yeah.
dude, he's hilarious. I don't know what you guys missed on that, but like his one-liners are so quick and so fast, and there's so many of them, you can't remember them all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna be one of those ones. The more I watch it, the more I'll be able to quote it, and the funnier it will be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna stick with 3 right now. I think it's a great movie. I'm gonna agree with what everybody said though, so far. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Mike,
All right, I'm probably gonna be the bad guy here. I'm gonna give it a 2.5. I feel like in this type of genre of film, like kids find an object and then they go on an adventure, like it's not quite as good as like The Explorers or Flight of the Navigator. Better than Mac and Me.
Oh yeah, go back and watch that movie.
Like it's somewhere in
bad.
between.
I just got that on
those
VHS at a
Really?
garage sale. Yeah.
Have you seen it before?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
When I was a
okay.
kid, nothing better than a kid going off in a wheelchair.
And I love these films. These are the films that I like. I love. Like I grew up with these type of films. Like The Goonies, all these kind of things. Like kid empowerment, man. Like go out there and you go on an adventure. Parents aren't around. They ain't there. These kids are a little older. That being granted, these are a little older. It's
Seniors.
Not, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
But then
'cause he's
Karate
trying
Kid
to
was kind of
graduate.
like that though too, a little bit. You know. But yeah, there's just too much that's like I didn't like Vince. The pacing's way off. The special effects are good, but I mean, like again, not as good as like The Explorers or something like that. They go out into space. I mean, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a 2.5 engine from Sharper Image or whatever we call it.
Engine from Sharper Image.
Space comes to them in this movie, Mike. Space comes to them.
In the form of this weird, like I like that the T-Rex comes out of a wall, like it was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
It
like
was
came
the
in a
gym-
Toontown.
It was the gymnasium.
It's definitely no Last Starfighter, even
Yeah,
though
yeah.
the same guy directed it,
I forgot
wrote
that
the Last
one.
Starfighter.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, that's a whole different animal on its own.
Uh-huh.
But
Although, have you watched Last Starfighter recently?
yeah,
Oh man, it's like I got all excited because I'm like, yeah, first computer generated graphics for a movie, awesome. Then you watch, you're like, fuck, first computer generated graphics for
I
a
didn't
movie.
think it
like
was
Pong.
Last Starfighter.
I think it's pretty.
No,
yeah.
I thought it was.
Tron,
It was.
right?
Yeah, it was. Young Sherlock Holmes has the first ever computer generated.
Oh, is
graphics.
it the
The,
cupcakes eaten?
No, the stained glass window person.
Oh,
Oh, you
was
might
all
be right.
I think that was the very
Okay.
first
You
time.
might be right.
What about what was the one with Michael Broderick? What's his name?
Matthew Broderick.
Matthew Broderick.
War
yeah.
Games?
War Games.
War
Isn't there some computer kind of graphic stuff in
I
there?
think the stuff that's in there is all like
But I think-
drawn and stuff. Like
The girl
Yeah, well, what's
gets
Tron?
together
It's
with
just
the
like
boy.
rotoscoping or some shit.
Tron, yeah, Tron's just rotoscoping.
Oh,
Wait,
okay.
do they CGI?
It's very first computer generated.
I think you're right because I think I have heard that before.
Yeah,
You might
it's
be right.
surprisingly
it's
enough,
weird, it's
for young
weird. It's
Sherlock
that movie,
Holmes.
but yeah, it's that whole scene was
You might be right.
drawn and then
But
animated.
that was
within a
actually
computer.
like a Steven Spielberg film, I think.
I'm thinking about like just a computer screen. That fucking scotch was pretty good, you got. Like there was a computer screen in that movie. The fuck is going on over here?
just trying to confuse you. That's all.
Maybe Star Trek was the first thing to use a computer screen.
That's
don't
not what
know.
the argument is.
Yeah.
Well, if we're going there,
All right, guys, that is our show for this week. You can follow Mike
At Mike Salucio on Twitter. You can also read some filmmaking stuff that I write about on friendlyneighborhoodfilmmaking.com.
You can follow Danny and buy his books at
Amazon, as well as DannyMarrianino.com. Good luck spelling that. I also have a Twitter. It's called Don't Ever Punch. You can go there too. So
Do you have anything coming up? Anything you want to plug really quick?
I do have a new book coming out in July. It's called To Make Matters Worse. It's all stories that you would not normally tell anybody unless you're drunk hanging out with your friends. And then even that you're embarrassed about the next day. And I did an audio book for it too, so it's really funny.
Nice.
you got a million ideas, man. That's awesome.
I'm bored.
You can follow Chris at
You can you can follow me at cultfilm_Chris on Instagram, or you can go to midnightreleasing.com and check out some upcoming independent horror films. We've got Knucklebones coming out
I was
soon.
gonna say, what's the film?
That's
this
gonna be
week?
the new franchise,
film of the
guys. Knucklebones. Check it out. There's a great trailer on YouTube.
You can
Great
fo-
trailer.
Yep,
Great?
great and a great.
Yep.
A great trailer.
You can follow Kyle at.
You can follow me on Cult Film Kyle on Instagram.
You can also follow me on Instagram at cultfilm_Cody, I believe now. I don't know.
Oh, I think mine has an underscore in it.
Yeah.
Cult Film _Kyle. There you go.
I don't remember.
Always correcting yourselves.
Well,
when it
I never
comes to
use it
these.
because I'm always on the Cult Film and Review Instagram at cultfilm_review. Also, I'm on the cultfilm_review Twitter. Always checking that out. You know what else I do?
No, you're not.
Yeah.
Mike's on that.
No, I check it out. Is what I do.
You look at it?
Yeah.
That doesn't count.
I go and look at
He
it.
looks at the app on his home screen, then he moves on.
He's like, yeah, I'll retweet that. That looks good. I like that.
I go over there and I said, would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Maybe forget what I was talking about.
You don't even know
Something
what
with
you're talking
underscores.
Yeah.
We got
So
a
you
lot
can-
of underscores.
You can follow us all there if you want. You can also, if you'd like, you can go over to iTunes. You can rate us 5 stars and leave a nice comment. You don't have to, but it would help us out a lot. And also, just remember, if you're going to join a cult, make sure they watch good movies. We'll see you next week.